Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's DIY is farmhouse inspired, and it's actually inspired by so many of the super talented women here on YouTube. There are so many women who have created the farmhouse inspired window, Life at 50 and Beyond, Mama from Scratch, and the list goes on. And that actually inspired me to create a farmhouse inspired mirror with shutters. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel, and let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I'm going to be using 4 mirrors from the Dollar Tree. If you can't find them at Dollar Tree, make sure that you're buying mirrors that you can take apart. And I'm also going to be using 4 of the Dollar Tree wall art frames, and these are perfect in size because when you put them next to your mirror, they are the same length. So this is perfect. So make sure that you get that size. So now I'm going to take apart my mirrors, and you want to be very careful because of course you're going to be reusing your mirror and everything inside. You just want to set this aside so that you can work with the frame. So now that you've taken it apart, make sure that you put the prongs inward to make life easier for yourself. Now you're going to set up all 4 of your frames, and you're going to set it up exactly how you're going to glue it. And I'm going to use my E6000. It doesn't matter what color you use, I just have a lot of this white left over. So I'm going to take 1 frame and add E6000 to 2 of its sides. And then I'm going to press it up against the other 2 frames. Now, because these are already glued to those 2 frames, you're only going to have to add glue to this frame right here. So you're going to add glue to the one side that's going to touch the other frame and the bottom. So now you're going to press it in and make sure everything is aligned, and you're going to clean up the extra glue if some of it is seeping out like mine is. And that's okay if it is, you're going to paint over this anyway. Now I added little clips. It was really hard to do that because the frames are actually really thin, so they kept snapping off. And I let this dry for 24 hours. So now I'm going to take my wall art frames and take this apart. Now you can discard the inside because you're not going to be using it, and you're also going to be removing the prongs. So I just use some side cutters that are really dull from the Dollar Tree, and I take the prongs off of every single frame. So now what you're going to do is lay them on their backside and attach the 2 pieces. These are going to be your 2 panels. So of course you're going to use E6000 to do so. After you attach your 2 panels, you're going to let them dry for 24 hours. Now unfortunately my frames were gold, so I wanted to spray paint them. I had some leftover chalk paint from another project, and I spray painted them black so that later on when I paint them, it all has one solid color. So now I'm going to attach these to the other frames, and of course I'm going to be using my E6000. So I'm going to add a generous amount of E6000 to one side of the frame and push that up against the other frames. And I'm going to do this to the other side as well. Now, if you are feeling like this isn't going to be enough to hold these in place, you are more than welcome to add popsicle sticks to the back or use a piece of plywood or foam when your project is done. It's totally up to you and how confident you are. For the paint job, I used this color Pool, and it is a chalk color that I got at Walmart. And I also used this folk art color in Vintage White. I mixed both colors together. And once I got the color that I wanted, I added a tad bit of water until it got into a milky consistency. And this is basically so I can brush it on and it looks kind of like a whitewash. So now I'm just going to do a very dry brush on here. And I don't want this to look neat at all. I want this to look very weathered. You can also grab some sandpaper and distress it later on, but I feel like this, it already looks like it's pretty distressed. So I did this to my entire frame, making sure that I got the outside as well, and then I let it dry. It doesn't take too long to dry since basically most of this is very watered down. So now that it's dry, I'm going to work on my panels, and I got this craft stick pack from Walmart. It was about $3, and you're only going to need 40 of these. So what I did was I grabbed the back of the frame, and I measured out where I needed to cut. So I made my markings, And with some scissors, make sure that you're using really, really strong scissors. I'm gonna cut on those 2 lines. So I'm gonna do this to all 40 of my pieces, and once I have them all, I'm going to be using some stain. You can also use shoe polish from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to brush this on because when I use a foam brush, it ends up being really dark. So I'm just brushing this on lightly, front and back. And once I have them all and they are dry, it's time to attach them onto my panels. So I'm going to add some glue to both sides and add one by one. I'm going to make sure that they overlap a little bit just so that it looks a little bit more like a panel. So I'm adding a bit of glue and then I'm having it overlap. And I'm going to do this until I get all the way to the bottom. And I used 10 per panel. Some of them I really didn't need the 10. I guess it was just the placement and how I did it. But for the most part, 10 is what you'll need if you get this size of craft stick. So you're going to do this to both sides of your mirrors to create the shutter effect. And once you're done, you can go ahead and add your mirrors, and you can go ahead and add a wood piece, a foam piece, or just leave it as is. And your mirror is done. You can hang it using command strips or whatever you'd like. You have a beautiful farmhouse inspired shuttered mirror. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. Till next time.